Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles and beyond. I'm Amy Steinberg, and I'm so happy to be here with you this morning. And I'm going to start us off with some love. Can't wait to hear from Reverend Keith Cox today. He told me a little bit about what he's going to share with us, and I'm just super stoked. So good morning. There's a power in a seed, reminding itself how to become a tree. There's a power in a cell, and it's capable of making a you or a me. There's a power in a word, vibrating at a frequency, and there's a power inside that power, inside that power. You know what it is? It's a love, 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 love. You can sing that part with me. Love, 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 love. And you can feel it revealed when an open, broken heart begins to be healed. It breaks like the sky when a long, dark night starts spinning on the wheel of the world. Watch it rise. Out of the ashes comes another day of bright light shining through your eyes. So much surprise every time we fall in love, 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 love. Sing it with me, come on. Love, 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 love. La da 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 love, love, la da do ba da way ba ba da da dee da da ba ba dee da 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 ba ba down. There's a force in the fist, but when unclenched, it ceases to exist. It shifts into light. So much freedom releases from the wrist, so insist on bliss, 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 and love, 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 la, la, love. Gotta insist, 'cause there's a power in a seed, reminding itself how to become a tree. There's a power in a cell, and it's capable of making a you or a me. There's a power in a word, love, vibrating at a frequency, and there's a power inside that power, inside that power. It's love.
And so it is. Let's see your nails again.
Ooh, they're periwinkle.
They're periwinkle?
Periwinkle.
I
Which is
love
probably my favorite color. If I were
Really?
to have to pick a favorite color. What's your favorite color, Reverend Keith?
I don't know that I have a favorite color, but right now it might be, I can't pull my toes are done more of a like a fuchsia pink.
May I
So
say that navy is very nice on you?
thank you. I had a different
And
navy shirt on and then put this one on. I set it out like the little flecks of
I
flora
actually
in it.
really, really like it. And may I ask those who are watching to put their favorite color in the chat?
Yes. And whether it's your nail color or just your favorite color. I like the green, as we spoke of earlier, the green, the background in these pieces
Yes,
of art here. So there's a variation of green there. So,
I love it.
and you have great green there too as well in your background. So we're gonna have fun today. So good to see you. Travis's favorite color is blue.
Oh, good. Who doesn't love a
I
blue?
see blue velvet. So, all right, Amy, we'll see you in a bit. Good morning,
Okay.
everyone. I'm Reverend Dr. Keith Cox, and welcome to our virtual space for the Center for Spiritual Living, Los Angeles. It is indeed Sunday morning, the 7th of September in the Gregorian calendar year of 2025, and I welcome you and celebrate you wherever you may be in a physical form on this planet of what we call Mother Earth as you continue on the journey of finding your personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. And I affirm for each and every one of us that we are in the perfect and right space in this very moment, readying ourselves to be inspired and to reveal through that inspiration a spiritual awakening, a remembrance of who we are as one in the sea of consciousness of life. And so it's so good to be back together after we all took a Sunday off last week. And I know for all of you that it was a great day, as it was for me. And I'm noticing that my gray whiskers are showing up in this camera today. I didn't think about that. But it's all the good, the God, the life that it is. And so, welcome. Let's begin. I'm going to put on the screen my the opening slides for us as we continue into this shared expression of Sunday celebration service. As I said, we are the Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, and I love the butterflies on the screen, and they're there with purpose to remind us all that we are all like the butterfly, that we're in the journey of moving through the goo of life, through the cocoon, coming from the caterpillar, emerging into that which is going to fly on the wings of love as we navigate life itself. I'm in Southern California, as many of you are, and just recently there was an announcement through our local news telling us all to be on the lookout for the monarch butterfly, which makes its way transitioning back into, I believe, Northern California from Mexico. And this is a stop along the way. And just to be on the lookout for that mystical transformation of life that happens by means of the butterfly, and specifically the monarch butterfly. It didn't say do anything other than maybe photographing it, sending it to the local news. But just a reminder for all of us that we're all always in the journey of transformation. And so as a community, I say hello and welcome to each and every one of you. We'd like to open our service with the act of namaste. The visual on the screen shows beloved being of life being infused from what appears to be the external through with the opening of their mind to receive the gold, that which is symbolic of the energy of the divine, and then saying namaste, taking a deep breath in and releasing it and sharing it back. So let's all do that. Let's all do that together as we inhale and exhale, receiving an awakened moment of the divine, and exhaling, sharing it with each other, saying namaste. Namaste is a Sanskrit word, and its original meaning is I bow to thee. Today I invite us all to open to that as an act of bowing to thee, the power and the presence of the thing that Amy was just singing to us about, the power of love. As individualized expressions of the divine, I was sharing with someone this week who's new to our teaching, my favorite Ernest Holmes quote, Spirit has placed the stamp of individuality upon itself and called it you. As this expression of spirit, we welcome all races, all religions, all countries of origins, all sexual orientations, all genders, all abilities. We stand with you. We want you to know that just as you are indeed safe here, wherever you may be on your journey, and that journey is always unfolding. To remember to honor and celebrate the oneness of life as we welcome one and we welcome all. As a community, we've come together for 35 years now, practicing primarily the philosophy, faith, and way of life known as the science of mind. You'll hear later on in my message today my journey of inventory this week, of looking back over my journey of being in this teaching since the early 80s and how I've evolved in that, and knowing that that's the case for each and every one of us, as the nature of our life as we become awakened to the nature of life is to evolve into a greater understanding of the power of the presence of the thing itself. The core of the science of mind, the teaching in philosophy, is that there's only one power that exists in the universe. We process that, experience it, express it through our mind, individualized, and the collective nature of mind itself. And that we live in a universe that's governed by spiritual law, meaning that it responds to us by corresponding, just like gravity responds to us by corresponding. And that the more that we choose to know that, to use it in an effective way, by tuning into reflecting our divine nature and choosing to think in ways that provide personal self-empowerment through us, the more that we shift and create a life that is reflective of our divine nature, but also one that feels good to us because it reflects our own individual desires and consciousness. To do that more from an essence perspective, reflecting our divinity, as opposed to an ego, thinking that we know what's best for us as beings of the power itself. A reminder, the vision statement for our community is supporting individuals, finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. I invite for each of us today to open to an awakening of our spiritual nature and to make a decision that we are becoming more and more and more and more personally self-empowered, which provides through us an opportunity to not only know thyself, but to act in accordance with that and ultimately making a difference on the planet of our own journey of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening. The tinkling of Donna Michael we hear now coming through the audio. It's a guide that we're moving into our morning ritual. Personally, this ritual has great depth and meaning to me, not only because I've shared it now for 23 years in my ministry, or longer, almost 25 now, but I tune in often to how many times it's being said or done across our globe as an opening ritual, either known as lighting the flames of faith or calling in the light. And even for ourselves, we've been doing it since 2015 here. And I invite you to imagine yourself standing, either literally or metaphorically, on the infrastructure of energy, because everything is energy, of every time this song has been played, every time we've stated these words, every time you've witnessed the ritual, and letting that be a foundation, a reservoir of spiritual energy to let it be the foundation from which you engage in life from this moment forward. And hearing these words anew while at the same time being wrapped in the cloak of consistency, of ritual, and knowing that each and both are a reflection of the symbolism of the energy that is the one energy of life to carry us forward and to provide for us sustenance, mentally, emotionally, and indeed physically. And so let's hear these words, calling in the light. I invite you to look at the flickering flame on the orb on the screen and hear these words. Today we perform this ceremony to promote the universal consciousness of life, which acknowledges that all peoples and all faiths, all sentient beings come from the one great universal presence, which we call spirit. We call it many other words too, but spirit is a prominent one. The purpose of this ritual is to draw into our gathering this morning a more conscious awareness of our oneness and the qualities that we possess as complete expressions of the divine. And so as we feel the vibrations shift during this experience of this ritual, may we each become ever more aware of the light of life. May we become ever more aware of the light of life that exists in and as all expressions of life, which includes you and it includes me. I'm sharing a poem from the great Langston Hughes today that I would like to use as an invitation and an instruction for all of us as we continue to journey and navigate this life of awakening to the oneness of life itself. I dream a world. I dream a world where man, no other man will scorn, where love will bless the earth and peace its paths adorn. I dream a world where all will know sweet freedom's way, where greed no longer saps the soul, nor avarice blights our day. Whatever race you be will share the bounties of the earth, and every man is free. Where wretchedness will hang its head, and joy like a pearl attends the need of all mankind. Of such a dream, of such I dream, my world. We typically move into the song Calling in the Light at this moment, but prior to singing Oh Holy Light with Amy, I want us to affirm the call and response part of that song to reinforce the poem by the great Langston Hughes. And it's I am love, I am peace, in my heart I am free. I am spirit, I am soul, all together we are whole. Amy's going to take us through a song and then we'll end.
Let's do it one more time. I am holy light. Deep breath. I am holy light. I am holy light. I am one with God. 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 I am one with God.
Yes. So the I am one with God statement it certainly means so much more or something different to me today than it did yesterday. And that's just because, as I was sharing with you earlier, and I'll share later, a book I started reading yesterday. Um, and I think it's so important for us to play with that term and see what it means to us and see how it feels when we say it, see how it feels when we hear it. You know, if it stirs something up in us, that's a really good thing. And play with the phrasing of, I am one with God. I am one with God. I am one with God?
Yeah.
Question mark, right?
And it's interesting because with intimates, right, that there's
uh,
something else, right, that there's
right.
something separate. And so it's important, I think, to remember that oneness piece that you just said, right? Um, and I am one with God. It is, it's like trying to wrap words around this whole mystery. So I just can't wait to hear what you're
And for
speaking on
me,
today.
just right now, what's coming up as you say that, it's not, it doesn't intimate separateness at all for me. It actually intimates immersiveness. So it's
I
like, I
love
feel
that.
like
I
I'm
thank you for
immersed
that.
in it,
Yes.
right? I'm
Yes.
not separate from it. I'm
Yes.
immersed in it, right?
This was that whole
It's
conversation
like the
about the
seed
all
is
of
one with the
God and
soil, right? But I was just counseling a new client this week and I was saying to him, we go through life with um, just like we go through life where we've accepted that the law of gravity works, right? And it's going to work for us. We've also goes through life with the acceptance that we live in separateness because visually and tangibly that's been proven to us, right? And yes, in the physical sense, there's some degree of truth to that, right? Because it's like facets. And at the same time, it's incredibly untrue, right? Because it's not because there's
there's
only
only
one.
one thing. Yeah.
So, yeah. It goes back to,
This is the whole thing,
in
the
the
whole
late
philosophy.
1800s when this teaching came about, it was considered a New Thought teaching. And I keep saying the thing that people keep forgetting about a New Thought teaching is that you have to be willing to have one.
Yeah, and stay open at the top, right?
Yeah, sometimes at the
Well,
bottom too.
I'm
Anyway,
so excited to hear your talk.
yeah. All right. Well, so what are you going to sing for us now, or with us, or as
Oh,
us?
well, I was thinking that I might sing for you this song from my new musical. I
Yay,
think I might have done it here
Ministar.
before. Yeah, and this is called Room of Possibility. I may have done this last time I was here, but
That's good.
I'm just really interested in sharing this. And this is this idea that the creative energy is moving through us, and that anything is possible.
Great.
And it's the first room in the dollhouse, which is what the play is about, a dollhouse. And the first room of the dollhouse is the room of possibility. Imagine yourself standing in the middle of a room where the walls are made of wonder and your heart is like a tiny bloom. You feel that you are everything, but still you want more, as if time is whispering. This is what you're here for. You are here to create, to make something new. You are here to embody God as you. So, what are you longing for? What is calling you to be? Yeah. Listen for the answers in the room of possibility. Yeah. Listen for the answers in the room of possibility. Yeah. Anything is possible. That's your part. Anything is possible. Sing it with me. Anything is possible. And only you can know what it is that you got, and you can try to let it rot, but your soul is too smart. It remembers who you are. You are God, and you are here to create, to make something new. You are here to embody God as you. So, what are you longing for? What is calling you to be? What's calling you, baby? Listen for the answers in the room of possibility. Yeah. Listen for the answers in the room of possibility. Anything is possible. It's your part. Anything is possible. Come on. Anything is possible. Let me hear you say it. Anything is possible. See, we are here to create, make something new. We are here to embody God as you. What are you longing for? What is calling you to be? What's calling you, baby? Listen for the answers. Are you listening? I said, listen for the answers. Coming from the inside, y'all. The call is coming from inside the house. Listen for the answers in the room of possibility. Yeah. Anything is possible. The room of possibility. Yeah. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Anything is possible. Anything.
The call is coming from inside the soul, not the house.
Yes.
Yeah.
The soul of the dollhouse represents the room
Yeah.
of the soul. The
Yeah.
room
I
of your
love
soul.
it. Thank
Thank
you. You're
you.
going to know in just a moment how appropriate that song was. So it is all divinely guided, is the way life really exists. And the more and more you and I choose to tune into that, the more and more it will become more self evident, really. I was sharing with Amy and Travis earlier in our sound check that I decided to go old school and give a sermon today. And it feels right. And I'm going to start with sharing a story that, much like Calling in the Light and other things that I've done many times on my journey of ministry, the story I'm going to share with you today is one that I've used many times in my ministry, and I'm sure many of you have heard it before, but it's a story that speaks to exactly what the lyrics of the song that Amy just shared with us is all about. It's about what do we, the individualized expression of the divine, think is possible in our life in the context of not just the realm of possibilities, but when we find ourselves in situations or circumstances or scenarios where we feel as if we're being confronted with the impossible in our life. And so I invite you, if you've heard this before, to just open up and to see what it means to you today. It was 1985. It was November 19th, 1995. And Itzhak Perlman, the world-renowned concert violinist, came on stage to perform a concert in Avery Fisher Hall at Lincoln Center in New York City. If you've ever been to a Perlman concert, you know that just simply getting on stage is no small achievement for him. He was stricken with polio as a child. And as a result, he has braces on both legs and walks with the aid of 2 crutches. To see him walk across the stage, one step at a time, painfully and slowly, it's an awesome sight. On this particular day, Mr. Perlman walks slowly in what appears to be quite a painful process, yet still quite majestically performed, until he reaches his chair on stage. He takes his seat, slowly and carefully places his crutches on the floor, undoes the clasp on his leg braces, takes his hands and tucks one foot back while extending the other foot forward. By now, many audience members are quite used to this ritual. And they sit quietly as he makes his way across the stage to his chair, and they remain reverently silent while he undoes the clasp on his legs, and they wait until he's ready to play. I don't know why I'm having a difficult time with some consonants today. I actually do know, because I've had a lot of caffeine. That's what it is. Itzhak bends forward, picks up his violin that's previously been placed in front of him, places it under his chin, nods to the conductor, and proceeds to play. As this performance began, something went wrong. Just as he finished the first few bars, one of the strings of his violin broke. The noise was distinguishable, the snap. It went off like gunfire across the room. There was no mistaking what that sound meant. There was no mistaking what Mr. Itzhak Perlman had to do. He would have to reclasp his braces, pick up the crutches, move back across the stage to either find another violin or find another string for this one. But he didn't. There was silence in the entire auditorium of Avery Fisher Hall. All watched as Itzhak Perlman sat for a moment with his eyes closed. For the audience, what seemed like an eternity. And then Mr. Perlman opened his eyes, signaled the conductor to begin again, and the orchestra began, and he began playing from the beginning. He played with such passion and such power and such purity. Everyone was in awe. The awe, of course, because up until this very moment, it was believed it was an impossibility to play such a symphonic work with just 3 strings. However, Itzhak Perlman refused to know or believe that. It was obviously he was modulating, changing, recomposing the piece in his head as he played. At one point, it sounded as if he was detuning the strings to get new sounds or music from them that they had never made before. When he finished, there was a silence, an awesome silence in the room. And then slowly, one by one, the audience began to rise and cheer loudly. Soon there was an extraordinary outburst of applause from every corner of the concert hall. It seemed as if everyone was on their feet, screaming and cheering, doing everything possible to show how much they appreciated what Mr. Itzhak Perlman had done. In return, He looked at the audience and he smiled and wiped the sweat from his brow, raised his bow to quiet us, and then said to the audience, not boastfully, but in a quiet, pensive, restrained, reverent tone, sometimes it's the artist's task to find out how much music you can still make with what you have left. Let's take that in, both from a literal sense, from a metaphorical sense. Sometimes it's the artist's task to find out how much music you can still make with what you have left. In looking at this great, powerful line, at first I'm drawn to the component of what we have left. And obviously what we have left is whatever we have left, right? We have no say in that, in any layer of the context of that, because I don't believe that what we have left is finite. The piece to look at is, as an artist, which we all are, creatives in the realm of consciously co-creating the life that we're participating in, whether it's in the moment, just as Mr. Perlman experienced, of a string breaking, and how can we modulate and create and recreate and compose and allow spirit to move through us, providing what appears to be new, but it's just a new expression of that which is. But where can you and I take this story, this true story, and apply it in our life, in the creation of our own life? Without a doubt, this is a very powerful line. The writer of the original article of the story states that this line has stayed in his head ever since he heard it. And he goes on to say, who knows, perhaps this statement is the definition of life, not just for artists, but for all of us. Here is a man who had prepared all his life to make music on a violin of 4 strings, who all of a sudden in the middle of a concert finds himself with only 3 strings. So he makes music with 3 strings, and the music he made that night with just 3 strings was more beautiful, more sacred, more memorable than any that he had ever made before, when he had 4 strings. This story embodies the theme for the month of September that we've moved into, which is good is happening through me. I invite you to say that aloud. Good is happening through me. And tune in to how you feel about it. And do you potentially feel that the experience that Itzhak Perlman had on that stage that day is something that's foreign to what is possible for you with the components of your life and the components and moments in your life when the snap of a string breaking is happening? It may or may not be with a violin, but it could be an experience in your life. It could be a state of mentality, emotionality. It could be the death of something or someone, or a new experience in your life that you stepped back and thought, wow, how did I get here? And you get to label that whether it's good or bad. What it's telling us is that always, the story is telling us that always, deep within us is this reservoir of wisdom, of guidance, of brilliance, of divine energy, really, that's awaiting our recognition of it and allow it to guide us through the journey of our life. Good is happening through me. By example of this story, it's my goal today to have each of us take a look at our lives and see where metaphorically, of course, where we are appearingly disabled, in other words, where Itzhak Perlman has been defined as disabled because of the crutches, and yet it's some label that really doesn't mean anything. Where in our lives are we hanging on to some label where it doesn't mean anything in truth of who we are? And where do we find ourselves in a situation such as he did, where that which we expected to happen and unfold didn't or doesn't because of a broken string. And as a result of the broken string, we may be thinking that the life we had planned for ourselves is now impossible or at least improbable. I started reading yesterday. I was sharing with Amy and Travis earlier that I was at the pool and having a great day, and I'd finished a book that I was reading, and was going to go get a new book at the library, which is one block over from the pool where I go. And I did, and I had thrown a book in my backpack called You Are the Power by my first teacher, J. Kennedy Schultz, Dr. J. Kennedy Schultz. And I thought to myself, do I really want to read a metaphysical book while tanning at the pool? And I got into it, and as I started reading this book, You Are the Power, it took me on a journey of not only my life and the life of Dr. Schultz, but him being my first teacher and knowing I've read this book before, and am I willing to read it in a new way? And I'm innately wanting to read some gay romance novel while at the pool, And am I willing to open myself up, my mind, and my ability of perception to believe that there's a greater idea waiting to make itself known, that which is what I thought was previously improbable, to be excited about reading a book like a gay romance novel, but it's actually a book called You Are the Power, of words I've actually read before, wondering if they had depth and meaning for me. And I got in tune with it and engaged with the book as if it was a romance novel, because the romance that I was tuning into was the love of the relationship that I have with the divine, with the book, with Kennedy Schultz, with my past, with possibility, with opening up to a new idea, and found it to be so incredibly deep and rich and pure and stimulating. And I began to tune into the words of that book, of God, of power, of light, of love, of wealth, of abundance, all in a new way, through the lens of what's possible, through the lens of now, and through the lens of the journey that I've been on in my life of finding personal self-empowerment through a spiritual awakening, having many moments of the string breaking, and sometimes being the vessel for the beautiful music to come through with the just three strings, and sometimes sitting in the chair bitching and moaning that I'd have to put the braces back on and getting up and trying to fix what was wrong. In other words, allowing myself to get stuck in life, which in this story, Perlman didn't do it. But I ask for us, why do you think for all of us we have those moments? Well, the simple answer is because we're human. That's part of our human nature. But there's a deeper answer that Dr. Schultz addresses in the book. And he says it all comes down to our focus and perception of God and our relationship to God. God being the infinite divine power that is always there with us, as us, for us. It's the room of possibility that Amy was singing of. And understanding that, yes, God is a synonym for good. Good is happening through me. And the relationship that we have in our life, if and when, or do we choose to believe that all is good because all is God. He talks about this in the book, about how there must be an awakening in our life to where we allow ourselves to choose to believe with every fiber of our being that all is good in life and that all is God in life, and that becomes a second nature to us as allowing the law of gravity to do its thing through us the way that we've done that. All is good. What do I mean when I say that? When I say that, I'm speaking of the spiritual truth that indeed all is good in the sense that all is God. God is all there is. We hear that in our teaching a lot. And so often in my life, and I'm sure for you, and even to this day sometimes, I'm not sure exactly what that means to me. But what I've learned is that I must be willing to open up and feel the discomfort of both the question and the answers that arise, and be willing to stay on that journey, which must be a faith-based journey. And Schultz talks about this in the book, that it's important for us to realize faith is not something for us to acquire. It's something to reveal. It's already within us. It's just like the power itself, is that the more and more we allow it to rise up and make itself known through us, the more and more we shall experience the vastness of that which it is. What we're really called to do on this journey of knowing without a doubt that good is happening through us, no matter what's going on, no matter whether the string is breaking or about to break or might break, metaphorically, of course, I'm not the string, but you know what I mean by that, is to keep reminding ourselves that everything is a part of the spiritual journey, which may show up in times as spiritual awakenings, that we know what those have felt like previously while being open to them feeling differently. You know, Amy was sharing with us earlier that she has a new puppy and she's wrestling with the excitement, and I'm putting words in her mouth, of the new puppy while at the same time grieving her previous four-legged spiritual offspring. What a metaphor for life of what is life like to be open to the new while trying to frame and reframe the past, while physically experiencing the new and knowing that we have a responsibility to tend to that which is new, the puppy, while also wanting to hang on to the past, fearing that we might lose what the past meant to us. And yet what I believe, as I see Miss Thing over my shoulder, you know, in the green, is the journey is really all about opening up and letting the past be the foundation and the buoyancy to carry us into that which is, and all of that being interconnected. And that's what I mean by it's all spiritual. In spiritual meaning, as Schultz talks about in the book, the premise must be that it's all God. And asking ourselves, is that true? Is it all God? Well, yeah, it is all God. And yes, I'm speaking of the realm of the absolute when I say that. And it's hard to understand that when we're living in a relative world. But the key is for you and I to constantly be tuning and fine-tuning and retuning our field of awareness, and even our field of our awareness, to use our mind, our contemplative nature, to bring us back into a purposeful direction of mentally believing and thinking in ways that it is all God. It's from there that, I'm sorry, I just got distracted because there was a pipe that went off in my house, and I'm thinking, is that all God too? But the key is yes, right? It's about an understanding that everything is the energy of the divine unfolding, although it may appear otherwise at times. And to check in those moments, to ask ourselves, am I willing to have a new perspective? Am I willing to have a new paradigm? Am I willing to have a new model of beliefs or a new example of what's unfolding in my life, you and I, right now? And in so doing, am I willing to be excited about this new perspective? It's important for all of us to remember that at all times we are beings of transformation, and we hold within us the possibility of being a transcendent being, meaning rise above the circumstances and conditions in our lives. And the only way to do that is through our thinking, really. It all goes back to that. You know, Schultz kept referring back in the book of the foundational components of change your thinking, change your life. What does that really mean? And I kept, in reading that yesterday, referring back, reflecting on hearing those words, change your thinking, change your life, for the first times at the church with Dr. Kennedy Schultz in the early 80s. And feeling proud of the journey that I've been on and using those tools. And then also feeling moments of almost self-disdain, of like wondering, well, am I using it enough now? And realizing that feeling the moment of discouragement or disdain or doubt were all really good feelings, because it was reminding me of my contemplative nature, and to remember that that which is within me, within all of us, that was able to hear those words, change your thinking, change your life, and use that as a tool to create and co-create and shift a different awareness in my life, thus participating in creating a different experience in my life, then it's still possible now. because it's not bound by time or space. Meaning then I'm not bound by time or space, nor are you. That we still have within us the richness of the possibility of allowing the music to move through us with just 2 strings, or maybe even 3 strings, or maybe even 1 string, maybe even no strings, because the music isn't bound by the strings. The music, if it's bound at all, is by our willingness to let it move through us. Using the Perlman story, what he did was he opened to a new paradigm. He opened to a new example. He opened to a new model. And yes, one may say he was willing and able to do that because he had practiced before on the violin. But you and I have practiced too. We wouldn't be where we are today if we hadn't participated on some level in changing our thinking and changing our lives. We wouldn't be where we are today if we hadn't on some levels used the tools of this teaching in a way to propagate and prosper in our lives. And using the story of Perlman, he didn't get up and run away. One might argue he wouldn't have been able to run, but that's not the point. The point is he didn't get up and leave. He stayed present in the moment. He sat in his problem or his dilemma and worked through it. What a great example for us that he sat there using, yes, his skill, I would say, but I think it's beyond that. He used his faith. He chose to embrace the opportunity and reveal a transcendent experience. But let's remember that the experience can only happen if we're willing to be the expression of the transcendence that's there. So today I'm asking each of us to ask ourselves, where in our lives are we willing to stay in our seat, to stay in the problem, to stay in the dilemma, and to open up to tuning in to the energy that is within us to take us into this transcendent experience. I tuned into the Serenity Prayer as such a guide for that, and Dr. Schultz talks about that, and it's such an opportunity for us to use this prayer in a new way today to help us stay seated in the chair with the broken string so that we may be the vessel, if you will, by which music, spiritual unfolding, is made through us in a new way, not for the purpose of entertaining anyone beyond us. I don't believe that's why Perlman did it. I believe he did it because he wanted to play in a new realm. God grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the thing I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. So rich. Imagine yourself as Perlman sitting in that chair, whatever that may mean to you in your life, string having broken, maybe confusion presented to you, and then say these words either aloud or within the privacy of your own heart, soul, and mind. God, whatever that word means to you, and whatever you're willing to let it mean to you, grant me serenity. In other words, peace and calm and an untroubled perspective in this moment. To accept the things I cannot change. What would that be? Well, that the spiritual truth is there's an infinite power for good in the universe, and that we individualize it. And it's there waiting for you to open up to it so that it can guide you to play with 3 strings, metaphor maybe. And the courage, meaning to open up. We've learned over the weeks and years that courage comes from the Latin word courage, which means to live from the heart being the symbol of love. And what it's all telling us is that when we choose to live from courage means that we're willing to open up and let Spirit, the infinite power that is God, to move through us and express more of itself out of itself, which is through you and through me. And that for that to happen, we have to be open for it to happen. We have to choose to open for that to happen. To then change the things I can, in other words, to then stay clasped, to sit there, hold the violin, know the 3 bows there, and let it do its work through us, right? And that's where the wisdom comes in. Wisdom means the quality of the divine that we're imbued with, to then let it move through itself and move out. What all that means for me in this moment, and I'm assuming for you as well. The wisdom is to remember, you don't have to fix any of this stuff. In fact, you can't really fix it because we don't really have control. We have the ability to influence through our thinking, our beliefs, our actions, our reactions. And what is ours to influence is our receptivity to our awareness of the divine energy that we're imbued with. To be the co-creative being, to use our power with whatever we have left. And when I say that right now, what that means is whatever capacity that you have in your mind to use the power in a new way, to tune into and reveal the good that is there. The great Wayne Dyer says, with everything that's happened to you, you can either feel sorry for yourself or treat what has happened as a gift. Everything is either an opportunity to grow or an obstacle to keep you from growing. You get to choose. I share all of this today to not only anchor in our theme for the month, good is happening to me, really through me, could be how it's written, but for you and I to intentionally and purposefully and decisively invite in our co-creation of a new story in our life. I was with a new counseling client this week who had shared his story with me, parts of it unsettling a little bit, let's just say. As it was all said and done, I said to him, okay, so today is the day, he loved that term, that you get to decide, how about let's rewrite that story? Let's rewrite it differently. Not denying that the events happened, but let's rewrite it as to how it has propelled you to get to this moment now. All we have is this moment. All that Itzhak Perlman had was that moment. Yeah, that string broke, but all I had was the moment. All that you have is this moment. All that I have is this moment. An enlightened teacher of mine once said to me, you know, you can either be part of the problem or part of the solution. Dr. Schultz talks about that in the book, You Are the Power. If you and I choose to be solution-based, then we're writing a new story. If we're choosing to be problem-based, we're propagating an old story. I know for you and I know for me, a new story steeped in possibility is far more enriching than rehashing the old one, because everything in life is energy-based. As we choose to rehash the old energy, we are propagating a replication, or even kind of a, I'm not sure the word I want to use here, a sorted past, part of the past, a soiled rehashing of history. Today, let's all make a decision to let it go and to write a new story of God and a new understanding of the spiritual laws of the universe, and an opening to a spiritual truth of the omnipresence of the power that we all individualize and its nature of being transformative and transcendent, and choose to embrace the good that is. I flash back on a slide that I used years ago that was a photo of this great sculpture that was taken at Burning Man, that incredibly wild spiritual experience that takes place out in the desert every year. And it was of two beings embraced as one. Today, I invite us all to be open to embracing, yes, humanity in a new way, yes, ourselves in a new way, yes, our soul in a new way, and yes, possibility in a new way, and maybe even embracing our relationship to what we believe as impossible in a new way. Today is the day, now is the moment to do that, to start from choosing to see God in every situation and in our lives in a new way, so that we can shift our beliefs to that which is possible, not possible. Holmes tells us to do that in the book, The Science of Mind, in this way. He says we must seek to realize the spiritual universe, that which we are one with, regardless of any condition that appears, if we would embody the greatest good, and to remember that the truth is indivisible and whole. God in and of itself is complete and whole. Disregarding all evidence to the contrary, the student of truth will maintain that they live in a perfect universe and among people potentially perfect. He or she will regulate this thinking to meet the necessity and will refuse to believe in its opposite. At first, he or she may be influenced by conditions and may appear to be weak, but as time goes on, they will prove to themselves that this position is a correct one, for that which appears imperfect will begin to slip from their experience. Today, let's all begin to believe that that is what's slipping from our experience. This is that slide, by the way. Isn't it fabulous? And let's all make a decision today that anything that is not tuned in to the energy of the divine, that is you and that is me and that is all of life itself, is slipping away from our experience. And that we are moment by moment, not only playing the violin in our life, but we have everything within us to continue to allow the music to be revealed through us, no matter the number of strings, because we're not about the strings, we're about the music. Play on, my dear ones, because good is happening through you, and so it is. Amy's going to come back and take us through song.
Oh, wow. Okay, so many of you know, several times that I've been here, we've been doing more of like pulling cards and being together, but it's been a while since I've been able to craft a song based on the talk that I just heard. So I just wrote this just now, sitting here listening to Reverend Keith. So this is for you, Reverend Keith, and for everybody who's here. And it's sort of inspired from the energy of the talk, of course, but also of the Serenity Prayer. I really loved that. Show me how to play with 3 strings. Show me how to be at peace with everything. Yes, tune me to the truth. Show me how to choose. Show me how to play with 3 strings. Show me how to be in love with everything. Yes, tune me to the good. Show me how to let go, to get through, to tell a new story, find a new way. All we have is this moment right now, today. Now, right now, I will rewrite the pain. Now, right now, I will call it good and let the old slip away. Let the music be played. Show me how to play with 3 strings. Show me how to be at peace with everything. Yes, tune me to the truth. Show me how to choose. Show me how to play with 3 strings, and show me how to be in love with everything. Tune me to the good. Show me how to let go, to get through, to tell a new story, find a new way. All we have is this moment right here today. Now, right now, I will rewrite fight the pain. And now, right now, I will call it good, call it okay. Let the old stories slip away. Play on, play on, play on, and I surrender. I trust and I know that as I surrender, I fall into the arms of love. Show me how to play with 3 strings today.
I love that.
Me too. And then I
Yeah.
threw in a little Christy Snow there at the end.
I know, I know. I surrender. It's so important too. The surrender piece is so important. So as you were singing and I was looking at the piece of art that's the map, I want you to find a star that's going to be mean something to you and place a star on the places where you want to set the intention to perform Ministar.
A star on the map.
Yes. So wherever you set the intention to manifest where you're going to perform Ministar, put a star on the map.
I love that.
Yeah.
I'm coming to San Diego for sure
Uh-huh.
in December. In December, and Kansas City this next month, and then New York City again. And everybody needs an excuse to go to New York City, Reverend Keith. I think it might be
Oh,
time for you
yeah.
to take a trip.
Well, also I can come to San
11/22.
Diego. Tell us when you're going to be in San
Yes.
Diego too.
San Diego, I'll be with Rev Kev. You know Kevin Busey,
Uh-huh.
Rev
But when
Kev
are you going to
down
be
there.
there?
Universal Spirit Center. And that will be, I'm going to give you that date right now. It is, mark your calendars, everyone. Take a trip down to San Diego to come see me at December 20th.
Oh,
So
fabulous.
I'm really excited about that. I really did want to come up to LA, but I don't know that it can happen this time. So I'll have to take another trip out to LA. We'll see.
You know what?
I'll
That's
be
why
in
the baby
touch.
Jesus made airplanes.
Yes, I love it.
Good. Well, thank you so
Okay.
much for lovely music today and your
I love
presence and
you.
being and all of it. It's a good
Thank
day.
you.
You're welcome.
A
You're welcome.
wonderful talk.
Yeah, thank
Appreciate
you.
you.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Had you never heard that story before?
No, I had never heard that story
It's a
before.
great story, right?
Fantastic.
Yeah. So good.
Yes,
Cool. All right. Thank
love
you.
it.
We'll have you close this out in just a moment. All right, everyone. Thank you all for being here today. I want to remind you we'll be back in person next Sunday at our home at 1200 North La Brea Avenue, West Hollywood, California 90038. Looking forward to seeing you, and please bring friends, loved ones, and neighbors. We'd like to ask you to support our community financially. You can do that by going to our website, csl-la.org, and click on the donate button, as well as you can find out other information about us there, as well as you can go to the app in the App Store. CSL-LA is the name of the app. Center for Spiritual Living Los Angeles, I believe is how it is. I just used it. So feel free to do that. And know that we're having a little glitch with our daily text. So if you haven't received them the last couple of days, hopefully that'll be worked out in the next few days. And other than that, we have a Wednesday morning meditation. I'll look forward to seeing you there. And let's all just know that we're in the perfect and right place. A big thank you to Travis and to Robert and to Amy and to each one of you. And may you all have a fabulous day. We're going to close out with a song, Let There Be Peace on Earth. Amy's going to take us through that. And then if you're on Zoom, we can stay on and say a brief hello. And if you're on YouTube, we'll say goodbye to you from that. And Amy, take us out.
Let there be peace on earth. I didn't plan to sing this song, so I don't have this chart, so I'm gonna sing something else. Love, sweet love, surrounds me now. Love, sweet love, comes through. It's so easy. Love, sweet love surrounds me now. Love is the only truth. Love is the only truth. Let there be peace on earth, and let it begin with me. Love, sweet love. Let's sing this together. Love, sweet love surrounds me now. Love, sweet love comes through, surrounds me. Love, sweet love surrounds me now. Love is the only truth. Love is the only truth.